if you were to say like what are the strong suits of the team overall, I think it's that they have, you know, two or three players at every position that are actually either NBA players or really close to it, like legitimate NBA players. And then on top of that, I think their rebounding is improved. I think they're a better 3-point shooting team. I think they can be a great 3-point shooting team as opposed to the bad 3-point shooting team they were last year. But yeah.
And you know what, James? I talk about this a little bit with like the 49ers and everything, and I'll give Monty a little credit, a lot of credit for this actually. You can't change everything, right? In like one off season or even two. And when he got the job, it was a really imbalanced roster and it was a weak roster. Then you look at, well, 2 years later, I mean, he's got a team that looks like they can possibly get into the play-in or the playoffs. And yeah, they need a three. Yeah, they got too many centers or too many guards. But look what he has done. He was able to flip one of those guards for a center that works. He was able to draft possibly a starting power forward. He was able to add to this roster with wing depth and things of that nature. Would we have loved for him to get the small forward, the correct shooting guard, the correct four all in one offseason? Absolutely. But sometimes these things take a season or two to build it all together, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I were to critique Monty on, because I mean, right now we're turning his 2 years. He just like, as an employee of the Kings, I don't even think we're there yet. Because you got to remember he started so late after the bubble that, like, it was in September that he was hired. So he's only been on the job 2 full years. The only thing that I would say is that first off season, he didn't address any of the needs.
Right.
He didn't address anything. The only thing he did was find Tyrese Halliburton in the draft, and even that, you know, like he was a 12th pick in the draft. Like Halliburton is outplayed and is much better than you would have expected him to be. So, you know, like that first roster, he took such a cautious approach in, and then, you know, when we got to the trade deadline, he made like three savvy moves. Remember, he traded for Harkless. He traded for
Davis.
Yeah, oh yeah, Terrence Davis, and then there's one more.
More
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was either. But it was
Yeah.
Must not have been that
Alex
sad.
Lynn. Wasn't it Alex Lynn?
No, it wasn't Alex
wasn't-
Len.
Oh yeah, he signed Alex Lynn. And then he
Yeah,
traded-
no.
Oh, DeLon Wright, that's who it was.
Oh, DeLon Wright. Yeah. So
Oh, the Forgotten King.
DeLon Wright. Actually,
Yeah.
that's the one where like he got to. I thought that those were like three really savvy moves that showed me that he had promise as a GM, but it still left me with like, okay, you're banking on the same core, and if the core isn't good enough, it doesn't matter what, you know, tertiary players you bring in, those you know, those role players you bring in, if your core is not strong enough, if you can't find the corner pieces for your puzzle, you don't really know where it ends. And so that's what it came down to. Like I just think that he didn't have like this a strong enough base. And when we get to it right now, you look, and I think you can pretty much say that for the next like 4 years, well, you can say for the next 2 years, you've got Fox at the point guard, you've got Herter at the 2, you've got Keegan Murray at the 4, and you've got Sabonis at the 5. You know that you have 4 of your 5 starters, and then on top of that, you know you got your 6-man and Davion or Monk. I mean, you know a lot more than what you did a couple of like 2 years ago. That team, they just like rolled out 15 dudes and threw them out there on the court. I mean, 8 of those guys, what do we say, 7 or 8 are no longer in the league right now from the opening night roster 2 years ago. That many. So